Hello, everybody. My name is Hans Gogol from Exclusive Networks. Welcome to today's webinar. We will introducing Cubbit to the Nordic market, and we have Rickard and Stefano with us from Cubbit. So very welcome, guys. And I hand it over to you, the presentation of Cubbit today, and we will also record this webinar so we can take care of it after. So, and we also have a question and answer opportunity. So, Richard and Stefano, take it away.
Thank you very much, Hans. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are here to explore a revolutionary approach explaining how you can build your own cloud service with Cubbit and Exclusive Networks. I'm Richard Check. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer, and it's a pleasure to guide you through this journey towards building your cloud storage service with DS3 Composer. As co-presenter, I'm pleased to introduce you to Stefano Baldi, our VP of R&D. Stefano will drive you through the technology demo that we will be discussing. Today, we are excited to share how Cubbit is setting new standards in cloud storage. So let's get started and dive into the agenda. We'll start with an overview of Cubbit, then we'll showcase with a live demo with Stefano. Next, we'll introduce the DS3 Composer. We'll do also a demo with Stefano, and then we'll conclude the session with a Q&A. So get ready. Now that we know where we are, what's ahead, let's start at the beginning. Who is Cubbit and why we are here today? Cubbit stands out in the cloud storage space. We have been founded in 2016 in Europe, and our mission is very clear. We enable digital independence with our groundbreaking DS3 technology. We are not just another company providing cloud storage. We are cloud enablers with over than 5,000 customers worldwide, more than 50 employees. We are deeply committed to security and privacy, as shown by our ISO certification and our contributing role in Gaia X. With Cubbit, you are not just choosing a service. You are going to choose the future where cloud storage is more secure, distributed, and accessible. Our products, we'll talk about it. The DS3 standard and DS3 Composer will come back on this, are comparable to what you know maybe already from Amazon S3 solutions and Amazon's own availabilities. So our journey at Cubbit is also elevated through strategic partnerships, including investors like Barclays and Techstars, significant support from European Union. We got rewards from the CERN organization, and we are also financed by European Union. These aren't just partnerships. They are showing a strong endorsement of our vision to provide scalable, flexible solutions that serve a broad spectrum of needs, from terabyte to petabyte. With these alliances, Cubbit is not only expanding its technological footprint, but it's also setting up new standards in cloud storage for every kind of application, and we'll see that later with Stefano. Cubbit solutions are also trusted across all verticals. As you can see, we have already many large customers, from insurance to manufacturing to transport, public administration, where data sovereignty is a must-have in terms of requirements, and beyond, demonstrating our growing success and adoption from prestigious customer references. More recently, you have probably noticed in the press the signature of our global agreement with Leonardo, a 14 billion European giant in the defense IT solutions. This collaboration is not just an endorsement of our technology, but it's also showing our ability to fulfill the requirements of the defense sector, where the control, data security are crucial. So I strongly recommend to have a look on our Leonardo press release. They are the early adopter of our DS3 Composer technology. Imagine now a journey through time from the era of floppy disk. I'm pretty sure that you are not storing your files anymore on floppy disk for the ones that know about floppy disk, advancing to hard disk technologies, and then the rise of centralized cloud storage. I would say that this centralized cloud storage is really the last version of what you can put in the cloud in terms of storage. Each of these leaps transform how we store and access data, making it progressively easier and more efficient. Today, we stand at the beginning of a new era with geo-distributed cloud storage. This is not just another step at the previous one. It's a leap into addressing the most pressing challenges of our time: security, data sovereignty, as well as the infrastructure control. Cubbit is positioned here as a market leader. Our technology does not just adapt to existing landscapes, it redefines it. It's offering solutions that are secure and sovereign and will help you to control completely your infrastructure. So let's dive a bit into our core technology, DS3. DS3 stands for distributed S3. For the ones of you that already are using cloud storage, you probably know that S3 is a protocol. That's a protocol that has been used by Amazon to introduce cloud storage years ago. And more recently, with the recent emergence of the requirement in centralized cloud storage solutions, you have probably heard about S3. This is what powers our geo-distributed cloud storage, but not only. I mean, this is the interface that will interface with all your applications. It works by breaking data into pieces. So when we send data to Cubbit, we are breaking your data into pieces, encrypting them for security, and then we split and spread these pieces across many different places within the same region, within the same country, the same continent, and why not, within the complete globe. So you can really spread your blocks and data across multiple regions, multiple locations, and this will be your decision. This way, your data is not just in one location, making it much safer. If one piece is ever at risk, let's say there is a ransomware attack in one location, there is a location that is disconnected, the rest are safe. And we are making sure the information is always protected and available. So this means that you can lose multiple locations, multiple regions without necessarily impacting the backups and the restores of the data. This is why DS3 makes storing data not only secure, but also efficient. So now that we understand how our DS3 technology works, let's explore two specific products that we have introduced recently and less recently with DS3 standard, and that leverage this technology DS3. So we are talking about DS3 standard and DS3 composer. First, we have the DS3 standard. It was introduced a year ago. This is the blue circle. This is our core offering that brings secure, scalable cloud storage to business of all sizes. It's a fully managed service that is S3 compatible and operated by Cubbit. It's designed to be straightforward and powerful, giving you the level of security for storage that you need without adding any kind of complexity. So this is very similar in terms of your interface as the one you have with any centralized cloud storage, but we are distributing the data across multiple locations. Next, and this was announced a few weeks ago, we introduced the DS3 Composer. This is the orange circle. DS3 Composer is a step up for those who want to create and manage their own cloud service. It's perfect for MSPs or value-added resellers or even customers who are looking to build or offer a white label customized cloud storage solution that eventually can reuse existing infrastructure. With DS3 Composer, setting up the cloud service is quick and painless, allowing you to focus on delivering value to your needs, to your customers, to your environment, with a full control over your infrastructure. And this is the main differentiation point. Both DS3 Standard and DS3 Composer are built on our geo-distributed cloud storage technology. So we are ensuring for both products high levels of security, data sovereignty, and again, a much better control of your infrastructure across the board. Cubbit solutions, as I said, are 100% compatible with S3. So what it means, whatever you are using, DS3 Standard or DS3 protocol to produce DS3 Standard, the blue circle, if you remember it, you will be compatible with S3, and your service will be S3 compatible. And this is a big deal. This means that you can connect our service or the service that you will deliver to any existing application that use S3 seamlessly. With example like backup and disaster recovery, you probably are using one of these products, Veeam, MSP360, Commvault. All these applications are using S3 to connect to the cloud and archive data to the cloud. This will be possible even with the service that you will enable with DS3 Composer. Next, the archiving solutions, more or less the same concept. Adobe Premiere are all S3 compatible. They can use hybrid architecture as well, with systems that can extend local file systems to the cloud. All these products are also S3 compatible. You can also migrate data from existing cloud service to Cubbit. This is a way also to have multiple cloud providers in the backend of your infrastructure. And it's perfect if you want to build a highly resilient infrastructure in the backend. Let's say you can move the data from Amazon to Cubbit. You can move data to Microsoft Azure Blob Storage to Cubbit as well, including the fact that you can also protect Office 365 with specific products. I will take an example on MS360 or Veeam, for example. So after discussing how Cubbit can seamlessly integrate with S3 applications, it's time to see our technology in action. So I'm excited to hand over the mic to Stefano. Stefano has been instrumental in developing the DS3 technology, and he's going to present you the DS3 console. Stefano, the
Thank
stage
you.
is
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Oh, can you see, if you can see the screen in this moment, I'm showing you the S3 console from Cubbit. That is the console that a final user and a end user is supposed to use. So we are just going to check the completeness of Cubbit S3 compatibility with the standard AWS S3 protocol. As you can see, in this very simple web console, you can have access to your bucket. In this case, it's a very little demo project where you can see, I can simply, sorry for the Italian, I didn't set the English language, but in the settings, I can enable the versioning, I can enable the object lock, I can set the ACL, so the level of permission that I can give to the users, and I can define users, of course, by simply moving here. I can add a new user by inviting them, by providing the email, a name, and a lot of permission. And I can also organize users into group in order to simplify the use of permission. This is the standard S3 service, but in this case, at user, a groups level, we introduce a simplified method to move the user from our console. You can also use the policy. Policy is a very important feature from S3 that AWS support. You can use a very standard policy, but you can also add a new policy by simply use a language that is a standard in the Amazon S3, and you can also use an helper to define a new policy that helps you to add to complete to describe what kind of policy to introduce. The policy applies to object, applies to listing, applies to bucket, and they are affect user or group of user and so on. So it's very important the fact that you can also copy and paste policy from AWS to Cubbit without any problem. So it's a very complete system to use the S3 protocol, and it's a very simple one. And the most important things is not the console, of course, but the fact that you can generate an API key, and it means to have an access key and a secret key that you are able to download or not. You can also copy on the fly. But the very important thing to know is that this secret key will be show you just once in the live, then you preserve it or lose it. Anyway, once you have complete the creation of the access key and secret key, you can copy and post it to a third-party client, for example, Vim or Commvault or any other client, and you will be able to connect to Cubbit by a dedicated URL. In this case, of course, sorry. In this case, I have no access because I didn't provide to the URL access key and secret key, but this is where I will send my information. Notice as the last part of this very fast demo about Cubbit, that STX is something we had in the middle from console and Cubbit.eu. I will show you that the standard DS3 console is without the STX, and you will see in the later demo why we have introduced another name here. It's something that is very helpful when you need to manage your DS3 composer. I think it's all.
Now that let's dive a little bit deeper into one of our key innovation, the DS3 Composer. This tool is what makes Cubbit not just a cloud storage provider, but also a transformative cloud storage enabler in the market. And this is a big difference. As I said before, we are not just another storage company. We are a cloud storage enabler. And DS3 Composer is a groundbreaking technology, a SaaS platform that enables our partners or customers to quickly and easily launch their cloud storage service by reusing their own infrastructure or eventually recycle the unused storage space across multiple locations. So let's say you have existing storage within your infrastructure or on your customer premises that you can potentially use for a service. With the DS3 Composer, you will be able to reuse the existing available storage and aggregate it into a service that will be highly resilient and secure. This is designed to be easy to use, and you can set up your first cloud storage service in minutes. So let's take a moment to see how this works. I have a short video here, and I will just start it now. So having introduced the S3 Composer, let's now have a look on the practical steps on how to set up your own S3 distributed cloud storage service in minutes. So it's pretty easy. The step one, you will create your nodes. So the idea is to select your hardware. You can use existing hardware or eventually buy new servers, potentially provision servers from existing cloud service providers that are bare metal solutions. The flexibility of the DS3 Composer means that you are not restricted by any kind of type of hardware or location. These nodes can run from the data center. So let's say if you have your equipment hosted in existing tier 3, tier 2, tier 4 data centers. By the way, we don't have a specific requirement for the level of certification for the data center. It has to be there. It has to provide some energy, and the storage node can run from any location. It can be on premises. So let's say you have servers that you can eventually recycle or use as a storage node, or it could be just storage nodes that are ready to use from our partners that will be the cloud service providers that will come soon with an offering with a bundle integrating the Cubbit solution on top of it. You probably have noticed the Equinix recent announcements in which we are already having Equinix bare metal nodes running on Cubbit. So you can eventually provision storage nodes from Equinix if you want to. But let's say we will have other cloud service provider that will provide these kind of solutions as well. So it's extremely flexible. Again, no need to have a restriction on hardware. Just select the nodes, just make the list of the storage available for your infrastructure. The idea is to aggregate all these nodes all together, run the Cubbit node software on top of it, and create the storage region. So once you have created and selected the nodes, you will aggregate these nodes into a storage region. And again, you can decide how many storage regions you want to create for your needs. It could be a storage region which is based on specific requirements, like healthcare requirements, for example, or video surveillance requirements. Then you will select nodes that are related to these specifications. It could be also nodes related to green efficiency. You can select hardware that are running on nodes that are green efficient so that you can build the storage region that is by design green efficient storage region for your customers. And the storage region can aggregate nodes that are coming again from your data center on premises and eventually from the public cloud. So you understand by the design of the storage region that you can have multiple storage regions, and the storage regions can aggregate nodes that are coming from multiple places, making it by default and by design independent from the provider. So you can even run your nodes and your storage regions from different bare metal solutions and coming from different cloud service providers. Why not? Then you would build a completely independent storage region from your cloud provider itself. So step one, as I said before, you select the hardware, then you create the storage region that we are calling a swarm. And step three, you will define the access points. So what are the access points? The access points are the gateway that will provide the access to the storage region. And why you have, this is the blue boxes that you see on the screen, the small blue boxes. These blue boxes can be anywhere, and you can have multiple blue boxes to provide resiliency. And this is not just a matter of having everything centralized. As you remember at the beginning of the presentation, I was mentioning about centralized cloud storage. In a centralized cloud storage, if you are losing the access to the main location on which you are storing your data. Whatever the data durability you have behind, you will not be able to read your data. You will lose access to your information. With Cubbit, by the fact and by design, we are offering multiple access points to the same storage region. So it has multiple benefits. It can provide performance at the edge. For example, if you are using a CDN infrastructure in which you have multiple locations that are streaming video or media content to your users, why not setting up a gateway in each location where you have CDN servers? If you want to provide highly resilient access to the storage region for your customers because they are critical data stored in the storage region, then you can have multiple gateways located across multiple data centers that can access the same storage region. For the user standpoint, for the application standpoint, let's say from the Vim standpoint, you will still have only one S3 access point. So by accessing the S3 link, the S3 access point that Stefano mentioned before, you will have multiple gateways that can be used at any time to provide multiple capabilities, resiliencies, and as well as load balancing. So the gateway is the third component you will set up. So if I summarize, step one, you select the hardware and storage space available in your infrastructure that you want to sell or reuse. Step two, you are creating the storage region based on specific requirements, healthcare or cheap and cost-effective storage or green storage. You can define the SLAs that you are looking for, high SLA, low SLA, depending on the requirement for the storage region. And then third, you are creating the gateway and access points. In minutes, your service is ready to go. So in minutes, you will have the equivalent of the DS3 standard service, which you will be able to use by just pointing on the S3 link. And again, everything can be white labeled. So this means that this S3 link can take the name of your company. So it's completely dedicated to you. It's all the benefits of using a cloud service that will be resilient, but that can stay within your infrastructure. So when I was referring to digital independence, I was referring to the fact that you are not losing the benefits of using the cloud service. The difference is that this cloud service is running on your own infrastructure. So you are getting the benefits of using a cloud service that is compatible with all your preferred backup or archiving applications using S3. But in the backend, you will use and control your own resources. You know where your data is located, what kind of servers you are using, and you can even add additional security layers. I'm referring to cybersecurity layers. If you are working with companies like Thales, for example, you can set up a Thales layer in the middle, so you can build something that is customized to your needs. The good news is that you can now, with DS3 Composer, create a service that will be available and live in minutes. So now let's see the DS3 Composer in action. Stefano, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's start from the swarm. So what is a swarm? A swarm is a huge number of nodes, as you can see by this very simple swarm we have here. This is the NGC, this is our first swarm, the first swarm we delivered. It is based on a lot of little machine that we provided to our customer. Each of these server has just one simple disk, and they are providing storage service altogether. It's a very huge number, as you can see. But we can control it from this dashboard very easily. As you can see, this is our first storm. A lot of these nodes are going to be switched off. That's because we are switching from this old swarm to a new one that is based on our technology, of course. It is based on the data center from Aruba that we'll see later. As you can see here, some of these nodes are still alive. We can see they are providing the service. We can identify where they are, how long they have been up, and so on. Some of these are red flag. It means they are going to be decommitted, and some of them is gray. It means they are not working anymore. And so where the data are today, they are moved to a new swarm that is here. It's a very huge storm in terms of petabyte, but it's not so huge in terms of nodes. I can still see, because nodes in this case are bigger, and you can see they are all aligned, they are all working, and they are providing service and data to our customer. Of course, this is just the storage part of our solution. It's the figure that Richard showed you in the presentation. This is the amount of storage that we are able to manage. Some of the storage, as I showed, is in little unit that we provided to our customer at the beginning of the Cubbit experience. Some of them are in real data center. And how do you provide the storage service to your customer? Just let me find my demo project here. Do you remember the STX I mentioned you before to watch out? Here we are. STX is the name of a fictional company I use for demo. And as I showed you before, STX has its own console that we has already seen in the first part of the demo. And here I'm able to provide my customer the console, this URL, and also to monitor how storage they are consuming, how much bandwidth they are consuming. Of course, this is a demo project, so the data are not very interesting in this moment. But I can also decide which storage to connect to, which swarm to connect to. As we see before, the NGC was the very beginning of the Cubbit story, and in this case, this STX tenant is connected to that swarm, and so it's providing storage from there. But it also have a gateway. As Richard mentioned, the gateway is how I provide the service to my customer, where the URL they connect to, the system that provide bandwidth access to my storage, and the URL is the one I showed you before. It's not really, but it's not true. It's just a problem with certification, I suppose, in this moment. But as I showed you before, it's able to answer back to your to any of your requests. So, what is the point of having such an interface? Of course, is to be able to monitor the service. Once we have set the service up, so we connect the storage, we prepare the gateway, we are able to monitor what the users are doing. For example, I see that Stefano Baldi is providing, is using space. Sorry, here. Stefano Baldi is using 30 gigabyte of space. It's able to use 30 gigabyte of space, but it's just currently using some megabyte. So as a reseller, I can get in touch with him and ask him to why he's not using, for example, all of the storage. I can manage all of the life cycle of a customer from here. I can invite a customer by simply clicking here. So I send an email, he received an email, he will be able to connect to the console, to my console that has a white label with my company name, as Richard showed you. And I'm also able to grant him, sorry, I'm also able to grant him a free tier space in order to make some tests before start paying for the service. So I grant him a free tier of 30 gigabit, as you see it. But I'm also able to set alerting, warnings, info, mail that tell me when he's approaching, for example, the 90% of the storage I give him, or the 90% of the bandwidth, and I receive warning when you reach, for example, the 50% and so on. So I can be informed about the status of my customer and be able and proactive in understand if the service is good enough for him. So it doesn't want to be a very complicated system. It wants to be a very simple system that allow you to mix all of the DS3 features in one control system. That's give you the access to the SORM, give you the access to the gateway, but also allow you to understand how the system you have composed work for your customer. And I think that's all again. So
thank you very much. So as you have seen, the DS3 Composer is the interface that you will use to create the service. DS3 standard is the service that will be produced by the use of DS3 Composer. So the DS3 Composer will manage the backend where you aggregate the nodes, creating the storage region, and then defining the access points. So you will create as many storage regions as you need to. You can create a storage region for a dedicated purpose, for a dedicated customer, for a dedicated vertical. So it depends. The capacity of each storage region can grow on demand. So you don't have to provision a high capacity of storage before starting. You can start small and grow on demand just by adding nodes. So the way you can build the service is also a way to start and see how the service is adopted by the customer. What are the requirements? And I will take an example. In many cases, S3 cloud storage is used with a backup, combined with a backup and disaster recovery solution. So this is part of the disaster recovery plan per se. But if you are putting your data at the end in the same location, just because the vendor who is providing a centralized cloud storage service is also using the same data center locations, at the end, it doesn't make any sense. Because even if you would use in a centralized storage approach a service that finally will store the data in the same location where you operate your production, there is a clear problem. So for customers and partners as well, the DS3 Composer is a nice way not only to build your storage region, but you create a storage region by aggregating nodes that are not nodes coming from the same locations from the ones that you are using for the production. And when you think about it, you realize that it doesn't make any sense to do a disaster recovery plan if you put everything in the same basket. So with Cubbit DS3 Composer, you can build what the customers and what you are looking for. You can put your data in the different locations. And because you cannot rebuild the data from one node, each node is completely independent. You cannot access any data by accessing a node. Let's say there is a ransomware attack, or there is a problem with one of the nodes that has been accessed by someone within the infrastructure. even if they have access to the node, they cannot reach the other nodes. They have no understanding of the architecture of the Cubbit solution. But even more, one node does not contain any clear data and does not contain all the data that would allow you to reconstruct the files. So that's why I was saying these nodes can also be located in tier 2 locations. When I'm talking about tier 2, I'm referring to the data center tiering. You don't have to put all the nodes in a tier 3 or tier 4 data centers. You can do it for sure, but why not moving the backup and disaster recovery data to locations that are less expensive locations or eventually green locations to remove the space and lower the carbon footprint that comes from the highly consuming in terms of energy data centers that you want to, let's say, use only for the AI production, for example. So it's not only a matter of using a solution that can help you to build the storage region. Storage is consuming a lot of energy. With DS3 Composer, you can create a green efficient approach with the ability to choose where the nodes rerun in the storage space. So this will be a nice way to lower the cost of the carbon footprint each time you are storing a backup data in the cloud. And again, if I compare to the existing solutions, just think about it. You have maybe several terabyte, hundred of terabyte that finally aggregated terabyte through your infrastructure coming from multiple locations. If you are using a centralized cloud solution from any cloud vendor, what will happen is that even if you have empty space that is unused within your infrastructure, you will have to provision the exact amount of space from another vendor. So finally, you will double at least the carbon footprint and the space you will use for your backups because you will store your data to another vendor when you have already available space in your infrastructure. So with the DS3 Composer, you can aggregate available space that comes from your infrastructure to store your data. And this is not requiring to use any kind of vendor service that will also provide the same level of space, but from other locations and with different requirements. So you are making it more efficient and better. You will get a much better control on where the data and backup data will be stored as well. There are multiple use cases. I will take another one just to finish before the question and answers. Video surveillance. If you have multiple locations that are already using a video surveillance system, it's very likely that all the locations are using NVR systems. They are interconnected together through a private network. And it's very likely that these locations are also having some compute and hardware disk space. Why not aggregating all the space coming from these remote locations to create a storage region, which is the aggregation of all these multiple locations that are under video surveillance, and connect the video surveillance system on the storage region, which will be highly resilient. So if ever one location fails, there is a problem in one location, let's say it's a store with 300 locations across the country, and there is a problem with one of the location, the centralized video surveillance system will still be able to read the video and see what happened to the location, even if the location has been destroyed, without having to use a third-party vendor storage solution. The resiliency will come from the fact that each store will contain data that will contribute to generate the storage region that will be highly resilient by design. So this makes the solution not only private, but it's also highly protected solution that provides resiliency across the same local infrastructure without having the need to externalize the content of the video surveillance. And this might be a blocking point, by the way. I don't want to put my data in the cloud because I don't want to use a third-party vendor to store critical data related to video surveillance. In this case, you can reuse the existing space coming from the remote locations. And there are tons of different use cases where you can find interesting applications that can connect to Cubbit that will, again, aggregate available space from multiple locations, making it as a storage region, available as a storage region for S3. And this storage region will be highly resilient and consumed as a standard S3 service, as Stefano demonstrated with the DS3 console. So now it's time to have question and answers. So I don't know if you have questions. Hans, maybe I give the mic back to you.
Thank you, Ricky and Stefano, for the presentation. Very good. I also want to thank you all for listening to today's webinar. And should you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us at Exclusive Networks. We're going to have this discussion further. So I think that's for today. Have a nice day, everyone. Let's keep in touch.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.